Welcome to the broadcast, everybody. Happy Easter, or happy Passover, or happy Jumpy Buddy Day, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you have a wonderful time. I was expecting to celebrate with family today, but at the very last moment it was postponed until tomorrow evening. So that great big Sunday roast that I was looking forward to is going to be a Monday evening affair instead. But hey ho. So I was unexpectedly left with nothing to do, so I thought I'd come on and see you for a broadcast. Because the royals have been out and about today as well, so we can have a look at that. And I've got quite a lot of royal information to give to you today as well, so we'll get into that. Also, thank you to those of you that have sent me a tip jar treat for Easter. A handful of you did so, and it's very kind. And I decided I'm going to put them towards the ingredients for a carrot cake. That's what I'm going to do later after I finish with this. I'm going to bake a carrot cake, because I haven't done it for years, and we've got a family recipe which is absolutely delicious. Ooh, the icing's the best bit, isn't it? So I'm going to do that. So I thank you most sincerely for that. I can treat myself. Nothing like having a nice treat on a day like this. It gives you an excuse, doesn't it, to have a nice extra large coffee and a slice of cake. That's what I'm going to do. But blue is the warmest colour. I'm trying to wear a bit of the royal colour palette of the day, which is royal blue and Easter pink, to put us in the cheery mood. It's the first Easter Sunday appearance for King Charles as monarch at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. And they were there for the Easter Matin service. Lots of the family. The King was accompanied by the Queen, of course, in blue, looking beautiful on this very sunny day, actually. And the Prince and Princess of Wales followed along like ducklings following each other, aren't they? The Prince and Princess, and then their issue of three, George, Charlotte and Louis, little scene-stealing Louis. I think that's going to be his modus operandi throughout life, isn't it? To steal the scene. Although they're all adorable, and they all seem to be really rather enjoying a little bit of the attention, which is nice to see. Princess Beatrice wore a perfectly pleasant gown in the very palest of pinks, and I don't like that affair with the white fascination at the side. It looks like one of those sponge puffs, those squeegees that you get for the shower. I don't like that at all. But she was there with husband Edo. Princess Eugenie was there, pregnant, as you know, together with husband Jackie. I think sometimes she adds on 30 or 40 years to her age when it's not necessary. And part of it is due to those huge headbands, which are more like, what are they called? Cummerbunds. Yes, cummerbunds. More like that. I don't like them. And I don't like some of the designs that she chooses and the colour palettes, but it is what it is. You know, it's nothing to do with her condition, by the way. She could look marvellous if she put a bit more effort into it, but it is what it is. Catherine looked great. She was in blue. Catherine Walker, no surprise there. She's worn it before at last year's Commonwealth Day service. The hat was by Lock & Co, and the earrings are new ones by Carousel Jewels. Andrew made an appearance in a yellow gold tie, and he was walking with his sister, the Princess Royal, who looked ravishing. Ravishing she was, in a cream double-breasted coat and decorated navy hat. Really nice on this sunny day. And the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh made a wonderful appearance. Sophie made a splash because she wore this funky hat. Ooh, very large, tall hat there. Mad Hatter's Tea Party territory. Wonderful with that red, pinky sort of number. Lady Louise did not attend today, so she was sorely missed, but little Jimmy Seven was there, Earl of Wessex, but he'll always be little Jimmy Seven to me, and I'm sure to many of you, won't you, my dears? He just always will be our little Jimmy Seven. Even when he's 80 years old, he'll still be our little Jimmy Seven. Bless him, the new Earl. And Annie's husband, Sir Timothy, walked along with Lady Sarah Chatto and her husband Daniel. Zara Tyndall was ravishing in pink. Gave me sort of 70 vibes, that pink hue, together with the length of the dress, but very nice, with her husband Michael. And she brought the two girls with her today, Mia and Lena. And also, this is further cause for celebration because it's the 18th anniversary of the wedding of King Charles and Camilla. That wedding was in 2005, a civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall, and time's just flown by. Prince George was also spotted at the football this weekend on a trip to Villa Park to watch Aston Villa take on Nottingham Forest. It's all Greek to me, dears. I don't know any of this football talk. But he was very smart in shades of blue, just like his father. And they were very excited and animated throughout. Ginger Robin says, River, could you please tell me what the pins are that I see royal women wear that appear to have small squares of fabric behind them? And yes, my dear, you're talking about these kind of things. And this, of course, isn't an official one. It's a fun trinket that was sent to me by some rather saucy friends, because they know that I rather enjoy all this kind of thing. We don't know what colour King Charles's ribbon is actually going to be, because as you'll find out in a moment, they've all got different colour ribbons. But they're called the Royal Family Orders. That's what these are called. And you'll only see them on the ladies of the British royal family. I'm only going to be talking about the ones of the British royal family. I'm sure there are others in other European monarchies and this kind of thing. And before I progress, I want to name check a source of information where I found out just about everything that I'm going to tell you. I pride myself on coming to you with as original detail as I can, and stuff from my own mind and memory and stuff from all my books. But in this particular circumstance, I referred a lot to a website I'm sure many of you are familiar with, because it's excellent. It's called The Court Jeweller. The Court Jeweller. So I must give props to them. I mean, I'm not repeating everything they say word for word, but it's more or less exactly what appears on their blog. So I want to give due credit to the Court Jeweller for helping me deliver this information to you that were interested. All of the orders that you're about to see have this oval shape encrusted with gemmies, usually diamonds, with a crown on the top, and inside you'll find a portrait that was hand painted in those cases. They used to be hand painted on ivory until 2017, and that's when it was Prince William that requested that ivory was no longer used. So now they're using some sort of different glassy material. And they were first instituted in Britain under King George IV, who standardised this practice. And his badge that you see here was painted by Henry Bone, and the ribbon was an ivory colour. George IV bestowed his order upon his sister, Queen Charlotte of Württemberg. She later bequeathed it to a little princess by the name of Princess Victoria of Kent, who later went on to become Queen Victoria, and when she died she left it to the Crown Collection. This is George IV's niece, the Grand Duchess Augusta of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, who also wears, together with the Royal Family Order, she's also wearing the Order of the Crown of India, which we'll see cropping up a few times, and various others. And this shows her in 1902. And when it came around to Queen Victoria's reign, well, she wanted to do things her own way. And actually, she's the only monarch who decided to go for a dual cameo featuring her and her late husband, Prince Albert, a cameo in silhouette. Every other monarch has used a miniature portrait, but she decided to go with this cameo affair, rather like this brooch that you'll see me wearing fairly often. And I've got to say, actually, for my personal taste, I think Victoria was on the money. There's no doubting that the portraits are beautiful things in and of themselves. In my opinion, they belong on a mantelpiece or on a wall, not so much to the breast. It's a nice gesture, but I think that a cameo silhouette is more chic to wear. I just do. That's my own taste. I think Victoria was onto something. Maybe Charles could go for that. But Victoria created the Royal Order of Victoria and Albert. This was in 1862, after he died. And this badge that you see belonged to Victoria and Albert's third daughter, Princess Helena, and was returned to her nephew, King George V, on her death in 1923, 100 years ago. And this is Queen Alexandra. Remember we spoke about Queen Alexandra? I've got a figurine of her that I found recently at the Vintage Fair behind me. Well, here she is as the Princess of Wales, as she originally was before she became Queen Alexandra. She's wearing the Royal Order of Victoria and Albert at the wedding of her daughter Louise in 1889, and just above that she's pinned another horseshoe brooch to the ribbon, so it's multifunctional, and you can use it to pin various brooches all around you instead of, I suppose, putting them into your clothing and interrupting the fabrics. Here is the late Queen Elizabeth's grandmother, Queen Mary. Then she was the Duchess of Cornwall and York, and this is while she was in mourning for Victoria. And Queen Victoria's son, King Edward VII, instituted his own royal family order during his very short reign of 1901 to 1910, and he chose red and blue stripes for the ribbon, with yellow accents, which were actually similar to the King's racing colours. And this particular badge belonged to his second daughter, another Victoria, Princess Victoria. And then came to the time of King George V, and his order was suspended from pale blue ribbon and featured a portrait in naval uniform. Very smart. And here's Queen Mary wearing one with the Cullinan brooch numbers 3 and 4, little glimpses of Cullinan's 3 and 4 there. And the next time that you'll be able to view those Cullinans, as you may remember, my dear, you'll be seeing 3, 4 and 5 as part of Queen Camilla's crown. King George V was the father-in-law of the late Queen Mother, and here she is wearing his order. And as you know, she was consort to King George VI, who went for a pale pink ribbon. Isn't that lovely? Pink to make the Queen's wink. And he worked personally with Garrett on the design of the badge. And here's Elizabeth II. Oh, don't we miss that sunny smile, my dears? Don't we miss it? Just gets here sometimes, doesn't it? Well, here she is with her father and grandfather's orders, and the same affair here, but with the Brazilian aquamarines shining too. And these orders are cumulative. One can wear as many as one is bestowed during one's lifetime, but Queen Elizabeth II was the last living holder of King George V's order, and following her death, that order will never be worn again in public. And as for Elizabeth's father, King George VI, there is only one remaining holder of his order, and that is Princess Alexandra. Yes, it is. Queen Elizabeth II went for a lemony sort of pale yellow ribbon. So I hope that was helpful, because now you and I will know what to look out for, and we can spot the colours and associate them with all the various monarchs of their age, can't we, my dears? Key Perk says, what does Prince Charles's unique ring mean and stand for? I'm presuming that you are talking about his signet ring that he wears on his little finger, which dates back 175 years. These signet rings are part and parcel of aristocratic life. They are heirlooms, they bear family crests, monograms, all that kind of personal business. Long ago, the ring functioned as a signature when impressed upon wax on important documents. But in more recent times, you'll be more likely to find them on the fingers of sons who no longer have estates and whose only inheritance is the ring, the unlanded gentry whose family fortunes have been lost. So families now are quite torn on the subject. Some won't be seen dead in them and consider them to be really quite vulgar, and there are others who wear them with pride, particularly if they're the type of family that are more nostalgic about their past. And they are a marker of social status, your standing within society, less and less so now. I mean, many of these aristocratic signet rings have been lost actually through the passage of time, but quite a few families have managed to hold on to theirs. And the Prince of Wales, as he was, his ring has the crest of the Prince of Wales. I think it was made of Welsh gold, that ring, out of a nugget of Welsh gold. That his provenance, I don't think, has been confirmed. But he has the crest of the Prince of Wales on there, because before him it belonged to the late Edward, who was king and who ascended, fornicated and abdicated, my dear. You know the arrangement. Wasn't king for very long, but before then he was Prince of Wales for a long time. So he had that ring, Charles has that ring, and I would be not at all surprised if it goes to William. In fact, I know that it will be going to William in due course. I wouldn't be surprised now that Charles is not the Prince of Wales. Of course, that role still means something to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't left to inheritance and is passed on to William more or less around the time of the coronation, or this year, because this is the first year that William assumes his role of Prince of Wales. So it really should go along to him. And I expect to have to downsize it a little bit, because we all know that King Charles, bless him, has those sausage fingers. So unless they're stuck fast, they could be cutting off the circulation on those fingers. But I'd assume it's been under some sort of tinkerage. Now, I thought this would be rather helpful for those of you that have taken an interest in various bits of information that we've been delving into regarding the upcoming coronation. And by the way, lots of you have asked if I'll do a live show or a commentary for the coronation. Absolutely not, my dear. Sorry to disappoint you. That's not my jurisdiction, I'm afraid, but I'm sure you'll all enjoy it nevertheless. But I would like to discuss the Coronation Guestlist with you, because there are lots of people on that guest list and a list of royals that are expected to attend who most of you will not know or recognise the names of many members of the royal family and their extended relatives that are coming along. So I thought it would be helpful to give you a comprehensive list of who is due to come, who is believed to be attending, and put some names to faces of the lesser knowns for you. Well, you need no introduction to Catherine, William, George, Charlotte and Louis, Princess Anne, Timothy Lawrence, Peter Phillips, Zara and Mike, Prince Andrew. No one is really sure whether Fergie is going to be coming or not. It's believed that she has not been invited, and she's hinted as much in interviews on television and the like, but you never know with Fergie. She turns up like an old coin, doesn't she? So we'll have to see. Beatrice and her husband Edo, Eugenie and Jackie, Edward and Sophie. The young Earl of Essex and Lady Louise will be there, and so they're all familiar terrain for you. And then we go into the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. Some of you will know. Some of you don't realise that the Duke of Gloucester is also Prince Richard. That's his name. It's not a name that you hear much, is it? I love that name, Richard. I think it's a wonderful name for a man. Prince Richard his name is, and he's the first cousin once removed to Charles. And Prince Richard's eldest son is Alexander Windsor, the Earl of Ulster. And that Earl of Ulster is a courtesy title, and he will inherit the dukedom from his father in due course. And Lady Davina Windsor is his sister, and so she is the elder daughter of the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. And they have another daughter. Their younger daughter is Lady Rose Gilman, and she'll be there too. Then we have the Duke and Duchess of Kent. And the Duke of Kent, some of you also might know, is Prince Edward. So these are the sort of hidden princes. They go publicly with their ducal style, but hidden underneath they are princes too. And he is also a first cousin once removed to Charles, and also a second cousin. It all gets a bit mixed up, but that was due to his mother, Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark, being a first cousin to Philip. And George Windsor, the Earl of St Andrews, is son to the Duke and Duchess of Kent. He'll be coming along, as will their daughter, Lady Helen Taylor, and their youngest child, Lord Nicholas Windsor, who is actually a convert to the Catholic Church, as is his mother. She converted in 1994, did Catherine, the Duchess of Kent. She was received into the Catholic Church at that time, and when he did so, he forfeited his right of succession to the throne, because no Catholic can become monarch. Princess Alexandra is next. She is the Honourable Lady Ogilvy, widow to Angus Ogilvy, and she's second cousin and first cousin once removed to Charles. And we have another second cousin and first cousin once removed in the form of Prince Michael of Kent and his wife, Princess Michael of Kent. And they have two kids, the first being Lord Frederick Windsor, who was a familiar face on the scene for a very long time. Don't see so much of him now. He also had a bit of a career, a bit of a jolly as a modelling for brands like Burberry, this kind of thing. But that's him. And his wife is Sophie Winkleman, who's best known in this country because she is sister to the television presenter Claudia Winkleman. So they'll be along in attendance, along with his sister, Lady Gabriella Kingston, and her husband, Thomas Kingston. Next we have Lady Sarah Chatto. We saw her earlier at the Easter Day Parade, together with her husband Daniel Chatto. Lady Sarah is the daughter of Princess Margaret, the late Margaret Rose, and of Anthony Armstrong Jones, who was the first Earl of Snowdon. So she's obviously a cousin to the King. And her son is Samuel Chatto, and her other son is Arthur Chatto. The second Earl of Snowdon will be in attendance. That is David Armstrong Jones, who is the son of the late Margaret Rose and Anthony Armstrong Jones. And his son is Charles, Viscount Linley, and his daughter is a young lady that we spoke about the other day because she's been gracing the pages of Tatler, hasn't she? Showing her wares. Lady Margarita Armstrong Jones. So that should be more or less the full showing of the King's familial coronation entourage unless there are some late additions. Let's caveat that, because we have a feeling there might be 1 or 2, maybe even 3 or 4 additions. Hold tight, we'll see. But as for Camilla's entourage, well, that's a lot smaller, my dear. Tom Parker Bowles, her wonderful son, and her daughter, Laura Lopez, will be there. Proud, proud children to the Queen. Laura's children are Lola and the twins, Louis and Gus. And Tommy's child is little Freddie Parker Bowles. And in addition to that, the Queen's companions will be in attendance. Sarah Troughton, we spoke of her the other day, the Lord Lieutenant of Wiltshire. Jane von Westenholz, whose daughter Violet was acquainted with Meghan Markle before she met Harry, and she's rumoured to have set up their dates. Fiona, Marchioness of Lansdowne. She's married to the 9th Marquess of Lansdowne. She's an interior designer. Then we have Lady Catherine Brooke, another of the Queen's companions. She's married to Sir Francis Brooke, and he is the King's representative at Ascot. Baroness Carlin Chisholm sits in the Lords as a Conservative peer. And the last of the Queen's companions is Lady Sarah Keswick, and she is the wife of Sir Chips Keswick. What a wonderful name, Sir Chips. Oh, Chippy. She's the wife of Sir Chips Keswick, and he's a merchant banker and the former chairman of the Arsenal Football Club. There's a lot of tradition being broken in this coronation. Some of it's taking a lot of heat, a lot of criticism for the choices within it. I'm holding fire simply because the Duke of Norfolk, in collaboration with the King, did such a fabulous job in all the previous royal events over the past year. So I'm holding any scorn that I might have over certain decisions, and I'm going to hold fire and wait and see what turns up during the coronation. We also have to remember that there's 70 years between the last coronation and this coronation. Society has moved on, society is completely different, and there's no point in coming up with some stale coronation, even for someone like me who adores tradition. The monarchy has to work for a modern society. So I'm trying to be open-minded about it and some of the decisions that are being made, and keeping my fingers crossed. But one of those breaks in tradition is inviting a ton of foreign royals, 32 of them at least. I'm not going to go through these whole lists, I'd be here all day. But a ton of royals, and those who are for this kind of thing are saying that it is very good for King Charles's powers of soft power and diplomacy, and I can see why. By bringing people in, by bringing foreign leaders in and dignitaries, I understand the arguments against it. I truly do. But times have changed, society's changed. That doesn't mean that everything should change, but I'm trying to be broad-minded about it, I suppose, is what I'm saying. Because yes, even I struggle with it as well. But if more of the world is brought in to the coronation from the very start, and let's remember, getting from A to B is a lot easier in the modern day than it was in the previous coronation, and certainly in hundreds of years ago, when they would have had to catch some sort of armada boat journey taking several weeks or months to get here for foreign dignitaries. So I suppose Charles is just bringing things up to modern times, but he has lots of friends, lots of associates, lots of soft power within European monarchies, and much, much, much further afield, and he wants them to feel a part of it so that perhaps they feel some kind of loyalty to him. There is a vastly reduced amount of MPs that will be attending and only a small splattering of peers, but many heads of state are coming. The list of countries is as long as my arm, lots of world leaders and lots of representatives. There we go. So once again, I thank you for your company, my dears, even though it was unexpected today. I wasn't expecting to be doing this today, but I cobbled something together, and I hope that you get something out of it anyway. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my little Easter bunnies that sent me a tip jar treat, and if you'd like to lay me an Easter egg, then my tip jar is in the description box below. And I thank you most sincerely, my dears. Ta-ra, my lovers. Toodle pip. Take care, won't you? Have a lovely day. Enjoy the world and enjoy your celebrations. Toodle pip, my dears. Ta-ra.